And now, ladies and gentlemen, the star of our show, direct from the bar,
PB.
What is going on out there, peeps? Okay, not a lot of things in the news, but definitely found out something interesting. Besides the fact that Maliki is considering running to be the Prime Minister of Iraq, the coordinated framework was nice enough to also put forward al-Abadi. Now, for those of you who don't know about this guy, he was the Prime Minister when ISIS took over Iraq, and when the people rose up and were complaining about the way Iraq was being governed, he also shot some unarmed protesters. And then there was a huge uprising, and so he just resigned, and then al-Qademi took over. But yeah, it's interesting that these two names are popping up right now. Very, very interesting. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into this, shall we? Before we get started, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it. This right here is another example of why it is we need al-Sudani to get back as the Prime Minister. He does have a very good relationship with the United States, especially Donald Trump. Trump praises Iraqi Prime Minister al-Sudani. During a recent White House interview, the U.S. President Donald Trump praised Iraqi's Prime Minister al-Sudani, referring to him as a friend, and citing Iraq's participation in nominating him for the Nobel Peace Prize. He should have had 2 or 3 of those by now, between his first term and this term. According to Trump, Iraq was one of the 78 countries that submitted his name for consideration. The U.S. President claims that the appointment is a reflection of the deeper ties between the two nations. Trump said that Iraq has become more willingly towards the United States, arguing that the shift is tied to declining Iranian influence in Iraq politics and the U.S. strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities in June of 2025, which he believes have weakened Tehran's reach in the region. Well, I wouldn't underestimate them that much, but their influence has definitely weakened, but don't let it fool you. It's not as much as they probably think. In recent weeks, there has been an increase in positive feedback on al-Sudani, both within and outside of Iraq. The Prime Minister's political status looks to be improving as he prepares for a second term. His backers claim he has sought to improve stability, broaden foreign outreach, and seek business collaborations, which is what he's been doing his first term, and he's been doing it successfully. But I could tell already by some of the comments on the other video that people are not thrilled about this, but Maliki is in the running for Prime Minister, and that's the one guy you don't want to be the Prime Minister. I know people are going, oh, he'll never make the Prime Minister. He's a real snake in the grass, man. You have to be careful about him. Iraq plans to invest $184 billion to boost economic growth. As a person who holds Iraqi stocks, this is exciting. Iraq announced that it plans to invest $184 billion in key sectors, including oil and manufacturing industries. Now, manufacturing industries is very interesting because the rich people that own the manufacturing businesses or used to own them in Iraq are the ones who are still on sanctions. Now, Iraq itself as a country doesn't have sanctions, but there are individuals in Iraq that have sanctions on them, and the big majority of them are the manufacturer owners. To achieve a 4% economic growth amid significant political challenges, including the formation of a new government, according to the report released by the Sky News, the Iraqi economy is facing financial vulnerability as a result of heavy reliance on oil earnings, which account for around 90% of the government revenues, increasing the country's sensitivity to global oil price fluctuations. Another thing that Iraq needs to be prepared for is if Trump does what he wants to do with Venezuela and he frees them guys up or gets the cartel out of there along with Maduro, he's going to put his hands on all the oil that's over there and he's going to flood the market with it. There's no doubt about it. It's going to drive oil prices down and in return drive our gas prices here down. That's why it's really important for Iraq to rely on non-oil revenues. In 2025, oil income is expected to be $84 billion, but governmental expenditures increased to $97 billion, with $33 billion going to the public sector salaries. The country's domestic debt has risen beyond $66 billion. The International Monetary Fund views the economic situation in Iraq requires significant structural reforms to enhance non-oil industries and increase public expenditure efficiency, therefore contributing to income diversification and fiscal sustainability. Experts believe that growing budgetary constraints are exacerbating economic risk and jeopardizing the government's capacity to pursue development objectives. Iraq's economy must undergo significant financial reforms to be stable and profitable in the long run. One of the biggest reasons why they're having such a hard time doing that is the fact that they rely on oil sales so much. But down to 90%, that's really good for Iraq. I remember when 96% of their budget relied on oil. And when it got down to 94, I was shocked. But now they're saying 90%, they're going in the right direction. That's good. Look up here. Abadi rules out return as Iraq's prime minister. I'll read that here in a little bit because I'm interested. Iraq to unveil first link of $17 billion for the Development Road Project. Iraq's Basra province will inaugurate the first complete section of the Development Road Project on Thursday, a source told the news. According to the source, inauguration covers the 63-kilometer stretch connecting the Port-au-Fa in Basra to the Safwan International Road at the Iraq-Kuwait border via submerged tunnels, marking the first operational component of Iraq's flagship infrastructure project. Good. This would be a huge boost to the Iraq economy, especially the non-oil sector. Caretaker Prime Minister al-Sudani will attend the opening ceremony tomorrow, while Transportation Minister has already arrived in the province to prepare for this event. In April of 2024, Iraq, Turkey, and the UAE and Qatar signed an agreement on the development road under the sponsorship of al-Sudani and the Turkish President Erdogan. The project includes a 1,200-kilometer highway and railroad inside Iraq's designed to enhance economic integration between the East and the West, expand trade routes, and streamline the movement of goods. The corridor will run from the Port-au-Fa through Karbala, Baghdad, and Mosul to the Kalber crossing with Turkey before linking to Turkish road and rail networks leading to Europe via Mediterranean ports. The investment package is estimated at $17 billion, including the $6.5 billion for the highway and $10.5 billion for the electric railway. Once fully operational, the route is projected to generate about $4 billion annually for Iraq. That's nice. That's really nice. Iraq plans to channel 20% of Asia-Europe trade through its territorial under this project, al-Sudani announced in September, as he unveils Iraq's vision for 2050 and national strategy to move the country beyond oil dependence and towards a diversified economy. So al-Abadi rules out return as Iraq's prime minister. Okay, it sounds to me like he was thinking about running. Former Iraqi Prime Minister al-Abadi has ruled out return to office. His victory coalition said Wednesday, despite the nomination by the Shiite Coordination Framework. Hell no, he got thrown out of office. He was in trouble for shooting peaceful protesters. And in October, there was a huge uprising. He was thrown out of office. And that's when al-Qadimi was put in. Abadi, whose coalition is part of the Coordinated Framework and alliance of Iranian-aligned parties, previously served as prime minister from 2014 to 2018 during the war against ISIS. Coalition spokesperson told the news that the Coordinated Framework shortlist, Abadi, despite his explicit refusal, noted that he rejects any post in which he would be constrained. The next Coordinated Framework meeting may prove decisive in determining the next prime minister. All candidates, he said, currently hold equal chances, and the selection of the next president and parliament speaker will certainly influence the final decision. The Coordinated Framework earlier told the news that the shortlist has narrowed to a few leading candidates, including caretaker Prime Minister al-Sudani, Abadi, and the state of law leader and former Prime Minister Maliki. That makes me nervous. That'll be like we're going to have another election here in the United States, and the front runner is Biden. Initially, the framework required that the nominee not lead a political bloc, but later loosened its criteria, stipulating only that the next prime minister must have no legal cause or corruption allegations. That's their way of trying to squeeze out al-Sudani. According to the Independent High Electoral Commission, amongst Coordinated Framework parties, al-Sudani's Reconstruction and Development Coalition won 46 seats, the largest share of the 329-seat parliament, and nominated its leader for the premiership. Maliki State of Law Coalition, which secured 29 seats, also named its leader for the premiership. So good. Abadi does not want to go back in there, and let's accommodate him and just say no. Anyways, that's it for now. So very interesting that Abadi is not running, But again, Maliki's name is still there. I think if you had to choose between Al Sudani and Maliki, me personally, of course, I would love to see Al Sudani back in there and not Maliki. But being the snake in the grass that he is, Maliki, you don't want to count him out. Anyways, that's it for now. Look forward to hearing from you. I'm out.